Army Regulation 36-2, effective 14th September 2023. Headquarters Department of Army, Washington, D.C., 14th August 2023. Audit Service of the Department of Army, Randy A. George, General Acting United States Army Chief of Staff, Michael F. Averill, Administrative Assistant Secretary of the Army. Distribution of publications available in media only with the intent of the regular Army, the Army National Guard, the United States Army Reserve. Unclassified, summary of changes. Chapter 1, Introduction. Chapter 2, U.S. Army Audit Agency. Chapter 3, External Audit Reviews, Appendix Reference, Internal Control Evaluation Page, and glossary terms. Chapter 1, Introduction, Section 1, General. For the purpose of the process prescribed for the policy guidance for the internal audit of the attestation engagements conducted with the U.S. Army responding to the audit attestation engagement U.S. Army Audit Agency, the USAA, describes Army follow-up programs, discussed the semi-annual report of Congress, related the semi-annual follow-up status report submitted with the Department of Defense Inspector General regulation, discussed the external audits review with the conducted by the Government Accounting Office, Department of Defense Inspector General, Special Inspector General's commercial audit firms. 1-2 reference forms and explanation abbreviations. See Appendix A with abbreviation, brevity, acronyms. Electronic publications defined and hover over them. Abbreviation, brevity codes, and acronyms. Listed with the database located with the Army Pubs.Army Mill ABCA 1-3 Associated Publications. Section contains no entries. Section 1-4 Responsibility. See Section 2 for this chapter. 1-5 Record management record keeping requirements. Record management requirement. All of the record numbers associated with the form of the reports required for the publication draft of the records retention schedule. Army or RRS detailed information related to record number of the forms reports located with the Army Record Information System, RMIS, Records Retention Schedule, Army, RMIS, Army Mill. Any record forms reports are not currently addressed and published for the Army Record Information Management System, Record Retention Schedule, CDA, PAM 25403 for guidance. 1-6 Authority. Army Auditor General, in accordance with the functional responsibility delegated by the Secretary of the Army, with the exercise sole responsibility to conduct the audit function of the Army over the program funded by the Army. Army Auditor General reports Secretary of the Army, responsible for the Secretary of the Army, operational performance, the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, and the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, Army's internal audit organization. The Army Auditor General heads of the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, who has the audit responsibility over the function elements of the Army, the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, only Army organization, activity authorized to conduct Army-wide audits with the Army Auditor General may allow contracting for auditing services. U.S. Army Auditing Agency mission statement: an integral part of the Army team. Serve the Army's evolving need for the helping Army leaders assess and mitigate PTAT risk and provide solutions through the independent internal auditing services for the benefit of Army soldiers, civilians, and families. 1-7 report relations with the auditors. Army recognizes supports use of audits with important element information, internal control system managers audit reports, improve the effectiveness and efficiency of Army operation. Audit activities will prompt and responsive and effective with corrective action agreed to the auditor recommendations if reported potential monetary benefits. Command activities coordinate with the Army Audit General for all internal audits. All auditing attestation engagements conducted according to the generally accepted government auditing standards. Will the Department of Defense policy set forth and government auditing standards prescribed by the Comptroller of the United States for the current version standards commonly referred to as the Yellow Book is available at gadu.gov. See with the Department of Defense Instructions 6600-02 and 6600-06. Audit activities will provide information factual accurate with the representative of the situation being assessed. Audit activities with unreasonable delay with the progress of the auditing, providing with this information, setting up the entrance conference of the site visit for the audit organization will have the access to the personal facility of the record, reports, information system, data documents, audit activities. Will make an account with the books, record for the document, paper facility with equipment, and other assets available. The examination, observation, auditors make it available to college personnel who can discuss information Army commands. Activities should provide with continuous reading only without access to the key Army information systems. Data of the material include letters, memorandums, endorsement, reports, memorandums of the record. Consistency for plans, relevant working papers, as well as the documents or media type, include the automated electronic record systems, and with any entity associated to passwords. The audit activity won't require written request to access the material personal site basis unless with this clarification. U.S. Army Auditing Agency auditors will comply the following Army policy: safeguarded access data, audited activity to release classified documents, and record records within the supervision. Army Regulation 385, the review auditor of the appropriate level of security clearance. Audit activities will assist the auditor with determining security clearance of the necessary classification and the protective markings to be applied with the material developed during the audit. If audit activity is authorized to make the determination with the direct auditor with the properly authority appropriate will help the auditor with obtain classification of the proper authority. Audited activity provide adequate space with a facility, communication network, connectivity, other associated necessary to perform the audit. Support includes success of the system and hardware, as well as technical assistance necessary to audit computer-based systems and information. Auditors will come in with inform the audit approach timeframes will make. Result conclusion recommendations report potential monetary benefit estimates available for the review commandment before finalizing report. Interim production subject to the revision audited with the activity safeguard with the prevent any premature unauthorized release, disclosure, or use. G. Auditors refer indication, fraud, or other criminal acts of the appropriate investigation organization according to the applicable regulation. H. Auditors issue the report containing recommendations as appropriate. Auditors do not have the direct authority to make changes to the order, changes to the made procedure of the audit activity. They change the responsibility of management. I. Audited activity take prompt responsibility, effective correction, action with agreed to the auditor recommendations if reported potential monetary benefits. See paragraph 212. Army activity to assign individuals referred to audit focal points, provide assistance to the U.S. Army Auditing Agency and external auditors, coordinate audit activity command, assist the commander in the command reply process, audit follow-up, the monthly audit focal points discussed in paragraph 115. Army activities exercise with the care of the appropriate audit focal points. Audit focal points will be familiar with the audit process, activity, internal review of the want to designate with the individual of the officer for the audit focal point. Decision dispute with the conclusion, recommendation, corrective action, potential monetary benefits will document consistent legal statute, regulation, NDA policy. All disagreements between the management and auditors will be decided 6 months after the date of the final audit report. See Public Law 103-355 as amended with the official management budget circular A550. Section 2, responsibility, headquarters Department of Army Principal Office. Headquarters Department of the Army Principal Office to request audit service if it's been needed. Paragraph 24 obtaining the auditors Army's audit general, the auditors Army General approved before contracting audit services designated with the audit focal point with the coordinator with the audit activity performed liaison U.S. Army Agency, Government Accounting Office, the Department of Defense, Inspector General, Special Inspector Generals, and other oversight of the organization report. Contact information to the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, Audit Coordination Follow-Up Office through U.S. Army, through email U.S. Army Pentagon, Headquarters Department of Army.aa.mbx.acfo@Army Mill. Cooperate and fully support auditors responding to the audit requests, assessing auditors needed to respond to the audit reports according with the policy, procedure, the regulation, taking responsive action with agree with the recommendation, timely manner to reduce conflict, mitigate, manage risk, and improve the management process. Provide official Army position finding, conclusion, recommendation, potential monetary benefit of the official office of the primary responsibility, facilitate, support U.S. Army Auditing Agency audit follow-up program as requested to adhere to audit follow-up policy procedures as prescribed in this regulation. Agency for the employee for the responsible for receiving the audit recommendation, implementation, agree with the corrective action, have the responsibility captured, officer evaluation support forms, and civilian performance of the job activity directed with the Office of Management Budget, Circular 85019. Under Secretary of the Army, the Undersecretary of the Army, the educated disagreement between the U.S. Army Auditing Agency issuing involving auditing and testing and engagement secretarial functions, including civil work matters which cannot be resolved otherwise, review and approve and sign replies, recommendations, external audit organization made to the Secretary of the Army. 110 Vice Chief of the Staff of the Army, Vice Chief of the Staff of the Army, the educated disagreement between the management U.S. Army Auditing Agency on an issue involving the audit attestation engagement of the the Army staff with the function cannot be resolved otherwise, or proof of their assignment reply is a recommendation external audit organization made with the Secretary, Army 111, the Army Auditor General, oversee the operational performance of U.S. Army Auditing Agency, established for the audit policy, Army implemented with the general accounting, government accounting standards, established competent over the General United States for the audit from the Army, provide objectively identified independent audits of all level of function throughout the Army, covering issues, subject matter of the relevant Army, the top manager of the headquarters department of the Army, Army Command, Armies with the component commands and direct reporting in installation field activity, audit matters, improve the requirement of contract audits, over the provide technical guidance, oversight of the audits performed under contract, serve as the Army liaison, coordinate with the audit manager of the Council, over the Inspector General, over the integrity, efficiency of the Government Accounting Office, the Department of Defense, and Inspector General, Special Inspectors and Generals, U.S. Army Air Force Audit Agency, Navy Audit Service, of the other oversight organization, oversee the effective of the execution, Army Command, reply process of the audit, follow up of the program to include Headquarters Department, Army, Principal Office of the Army Command, Army Services, Component Commands, direct reporting unit, installation and field activities, coordinating, facilitating, following up with the Government Accounting Office, the Department of Defense, Inspector General, with the other oversight of the organization, act on the request of the record submitted with the Freedom of Information Act, according to the procedure, Army Regulation 2555, with the record for the related to the audit of the youth operation, U.S. Army Auditing Agency, with the authority extends the portion of the published reports of the reprint components submitted with the other organization during the command reply process. 112 Chief Legislative Liaison, as appointed the central point, contact the congressional request according to the Army Regulation 120 with the Congress that directs, if Congress directs the U.S. Army Auditing Agency for information, U.S. Army Auditing Agency will coordinate with the Office of the Chief Legislative Liaison before responding to Congress. 113 Director of the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division, U.S. ACID, investigate alteration, criminal misconduct, command investigation authority, compliance with the Army Regulation 195-2 for the applicable Department of Defense policy, receive the referrals from the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, potential fraud and abuse misconduct, report back with the significant trends of the findings resulting from the referral. 114 Commanders of the Army Command, Army Service Component Commands and direct reporting units, Army Command and Army Service Component Commands and direct reporting units have the same responsibility with the Headquarters Department of Army principal officials, except for the providing official Army position described in paragraph 8F, 115 Audit Focal Points. Audit focal points will serve as a point with the contact for all U.S. Army Auditing Agency, Government Accounting Office, Department of Defense, Inspector General, Special Inspector Generals of their external oversight organization, audit and attestation and engagement matter for the report. Contact the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, ACFO, for their element of the U.S. Army Pentagon at the at Headquarters Department Army AMBX ACFO at Army Mill, receive audit attestation engagement announcement coordination request audit attestation reports other than related to the request pertaining to the committee of the agency of disruption. Distributed reports over the audit related requests appropriate of office of the action common with the ensure the command respond with the appropriate comment with the need with the classification, practical marking system with the preparation of the command replies to ensure the response with timely paragraph 212. For implementation unit status for the U.S. Army Auditing Agency with the recommendation of the request of the statute of the Government Accounting Office, Department of Defense, Inspector General, and Special Inspector General recommendations. 116 Army Internal Review Personnel with the Secretary of the Army with the Financial Management Control with the Headquarters Department Army staff responsible for the Internal Review Program as described explained in the Army Regulation 11.7. Individual commanders designated with the Internal Review function will include the auditors ensure the preservation, proper use of the research of the audit responsible to separate the distinct with the authority delegated with the Army Army Audit General, the implemented with the regulation, internal review personnel at reasonable conducted engagements with the command structure that include but are not limited to review financial statement of audit readiness, a statement with internal follow-up audits, including U.S. Army Auditing Agency audit recommendations that may also serve the audit focal points. Internal review personnel will conduct the Army-wide audits and the audit over the other Army organizations. 117 managers responsible for the implementation recommendations, managers activity responsible for the implementing records, primary timely replies, take the effective corrective action, agree with the recommendation of applicable program activity. The recommendation include the U.S. Army Auditing Agency, Government Accounting Office, Department of Defense, Inspector General, Special Inspector Generals of the external oversight organizations. 118, external peer review. 3 years in the external peer review team, U.S. Army Auditing Agency, audit plan, execution, reporting in accordance with the general accounting, government accounting standards. External peer review conducts peer review using standard developed accounts with the Inspector General with integrity and efficiency. External peer review evaluates all controls associated with the audit process, including key internal controls, including the following: audit for auditors' qualification and independence, auditing plan and field work, auditing reporting quality assurance program. Chapter 2, U.S. Army Audit Agency.